Well, you hear it time and again, language is the key, not only to the labour market, but also integration. With us in the studio today is someone who has both personal and professional experience with that. Mikolaj Ciechanowicz heads the fellowship program at the German Foundation for Integration and is here to tell us all about just how fantastic the German language is. You had to learn it as well as I did, didn't you?
I had, but I was 10, so it was much easier than for most of the people coming now.
For an old person like me, when I got here, it was a bit of a struggle, but I have to say my background and circumstances were very different to the guy we just heard about in the report. I mean, it's a real challenge for someone who's trying to deal with getting their family out of an extremely dangerous situation and seriously having to sit down in class and concentrate and learn a language that isn't easy.
It is, but it's the only way. It's the only way to integrate here into the German society. I have in my program, in my scholarship program, one guy from Syria. He's amazing. He taught himself German within 3 or 4 months just by watching YouTube videos, and his German is perfect.
Well, that's something people ask me time and again. How long does it actually take to perfect the language or to become good at conversing in the language? And for me, it was a year. I mean... At least. And we heard about the struggles there after a year of classes. Sometimes it's not enough. Is that too slow, though, to get you into the workforce?
Well, it's not the only problem to get into the labour market, and it's also slow because the people are not forced to speak German. I always say Berlin is the worst place in the world to learn German because you don't have to speak it. If you buy your coffee or if you communicate with authorities, you can do it in English. So that's one problem, but I also think the recognition of certificates and other problems are even bigger.
OK, there is progress being made on those fronts. I guess you could argue whether or not that's a lot of progress or not. Let me just come back to the language thing. You mentioned English there being used so widely here in Berlin. Why isn't it used more widely in the German business world?
I think it's changing as well. When I remember the German business world 15 years ago, it was completely in German. Today, if you look around at the startup scene in Berlin, people don't have to speak German.
But you're talking about Berlin again. What about smaller places? What about Hückeswagen in the Rhineland? And what about Bergisches Land? What about places in Bavaria? I mean, you do have people coming here with the skills. But not the language a lot of the time, which makes it really hard. Couldn't Germany really grasp that potential?
I think we do, but we also offer the courses needed, the integration courses to learn the language. And I think it's easier to learn German in the countryside or in smaller towns. As I said, you need it in your everyday life, so maybe it takes not longer than 1 or 2 years.
Tell me what sort of companies are accepting refugees and putting them on. You mentioned some of the hurdles. What are some of the success stories? Well,
the partners we work with in our foundation are, of course, big companies because we are a nationwide program. So we focus on that, and for them, integration is a very, very important issue. But I think in Germany also lots of small and mid-sized businesses are doing a great job on that issue, and I'm very optimistic actually when it comes to the future of integration in the labour market.
What about working under the radar? Because it is a given. A study by the university in Linz, Austria, estimates that there are between 100 and 300,000 refugees working illegally in Germany. Most work for cleaning services or in the restaurant and hotel sector. Their average wage is €5 an hour. That's far below the legal minimum wage in Germany, which is €8.50 an hour. Is this the only solution for many? I mean, for some of them, they're waiting for their applications to go through. At least this gives them some sort of experience.
It is not the only solution, but it's, in the first place, it's cheap labor, which is taken advantage of by many people. And the numbers are quite alarming, I would say. But on the other hand, the government has taken some measures to improve the situation, especially when it comes to earlier to be able to take jobs earlier during the recognition process. So here I'm also optimistic, and from what I hear of our business partners, they see the dangers of it, and it's the danger for the refugees themselves is that they kind of stick to this more illegal or criminal even part of the society and never come out. So that might be a long-term negative consequence.
So just very briefly, in one sentence, your best advice?
For refugees? Well, to go out and to grab all the opportunities the society offers you, because there are many coming from the social part, from the government, from the civil society, and I think that's there's many opportunities, and you just have to learn about them, to get informed about them, and then to live them and to integrate yourself into the German society.
Mikolaj, thank you very much for coming in today.
Welcome.